Last week, I received an audience question, a live caller, I believe it was, asking whether I was going to cover Pizzagate. Pizzagate is this bogus conspiracy theory perpetrated or at least fueled, given oxygen by the conspiracy right, the InfoWars, Alex Jones, etc. Also on certain recesses of the internet, which I'm not even going to name in order to give them, avoid giving them more publicity. This is a bogus conspiracy theory that alleges that a restaurant called Comet Ping Pong in Northwest Washington, D.C. is tied to a child abuse ring. And this all started when John Podesta's email account, he was the Clinton staffer, was hacked, and his emails were published by WikiLeaks during the presidential campaign. And it's quite an involved conspiracy theory, actually, Pat, and it involves child trafficking. It involves various different symbols on menus. It's quite involved, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really out there, especially considering I'm sure Hillary Clinton and John Podesta could come up with some less controversial way to make money.
Yeah, and one of the aspects of this that's pointed to is that there was communication in John Podesta's email with James Alefantis, who's the owner of Comet Ping Pong, talking about a fundraiser for Hillary Clinton. Okay, so I was not going to cover it. After we got the call last week, I said, I received a lot of emails from viewers and I read more about it. And I said, this is fake news. I'm not going to participate in the fake news when it has not had any real world impact until now, because a 28-year-old man named Edgar Welch of North Carolina actually showed up at Comet Ping Pong over the weekend to conduct what he described as a, quote, self-investigation of Pizzagate. He went into the restaurant shortly before 3 p.m., armed with an AR-15 assault-style rifle, fired it at least once inside the restaurant, according to police. People inside the restaurant understandably fled. Police locked down the area. They ordered patrons of a nearby bookstore also to evacuate, I believe. And it was the full riot team, right? I mean, we're talking about SWAT here or something close to it. They apprehended the shooter, Edgar Welch, and 2 additional firearms were found, one on Welch and one in his vehicle. It was a Colt 38 handgun, as well as a shotgun, in addition to the AR-15 rifle that was allegedly discharged in the restaurant. Welch has been charged. Assault with a dangerous weapon, so far, is the only charge I've read about. Police said, fortunately, no injuries. And James Alefantis, the owner of Comet Ping Pong, said in a statement that this really is should be blamed on the people spreading the bogus stories about child abuse being run out of this pizza shop. And things haven't exactly been great at the pizza shop, it turns out, Pat, since the story broke. Dozens of threats against employees of Comet Ping Pong made via email, via social media. This is nonsense from the fake news recesses of the internet with real world repercussions. That's the takeaway. And I told this story a couple years ago about Glenn Beck and Glenn Beck starting to rant about the Tides Foundation. And it actually led to a man going to shoot up the Tides Foundation. And there's a term that applies here called stochastic terrorism. Stochastic terrorism means that when you have a large enough platform, mathematically speaking, if you talk about an evil or a perpetrator or whatever, there's a very good chance that someone is going to be inspired to take action in the real world against that individual or organization or location or whatever. Because you're making a general message about it, we can't specifically say Alex Jones is responsible for what Edgar Welch did. But mathematically, because of the size of Alex Jones's audience, it wasn't hard to predict that someone was going to take action. And that's what we call stochastic terrorism. And I think it really applies here.
Yeah, and I think it also goes to the fact that right-wing extremism is the biggest reason for terrorism in this country.
Yeah.
Because when you have people that are enraged and actually believe this fake news, that Hillary Clinton and John Podesta were involved in some sort of child prostitution ring, they're going to get angered for it, and they may be misinformed, but that doesn't matter in the end.
And this is the world of fake news. A shooter got me to talk about Pizzagate because the shooter said, I am going to go investigate this. I don't even understand what the purpose of firing that round inside of Comet Ping Pong was. The reports just say he went in armed, he was self-investigating Pizzagate, and he shot a round. We don't know, was he shooting at someone? Fortunately, he did not actually strike anybody with the firing of the gun. But this is very, very scary stuff. I saw an interview on CNN earlier today with a father and husband who was in the restaurant having pizza and playing ping pong, as people do at Comet Ping Pong. They're not there to trade children in some kind of child pedophilia ring. They were just having pizza, and just absolutely horrifying. And it's amazing that this has now had real world repercussions, and everybody who's been pushing this obviously bogus theory should really reevaluate what it is, what impact it is that their spreading of this stuff on the internet is having, because it led to someone showing up with 3 weapons and firing one of them. Absolutely insane. I'm so glad that Movement Watches is sponsoring today's program. As you know, I have and love my Movement Watch, but what I don't love is holiday shopping, including standing in lines, including parking at the mall, including the entire thing that many of us know all too well. And why not just skip the lines, right? If you want to give somebody a watch and you're going to go to one of those department stores, if you want a nice looking watch, you'll probably end up paying $400 to $500, whereas Movement Watches start at just $95, and you can shop online and have it sent to you or to the gift recipient, and you skip the line, and more importantly, you skip the $400 to $500 price tag. You can check out all of the watches and get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to mvmtwatches.com/Pakman. Now is the time to step up your watch game, or step it up for somebody else, and skip those holiday lines. It's just a nightmare. Go to mvmtwatches.com/Pakman. That's Pakman.